Call me a romantic, but I like to think that the universe is speaking to us. And in a real sense, it is. In fact, the universe is broadcasting at all times and throughout all space the story of its early evolution in the form of the cosmic microwave background. As you hear the word microwave, you most likely think of the box you find in your kitchen in which you put your food to warm it up. And just like that box, when you turn it on, the energy from the microwave radiation warming up your food causes it to be nice and warm. But we can give this box an official position in space. We can say it is in the left-hand corner of my kitchen, for example. But the cosmic microwave background has no distinct source. We cannot pinpoint it to any place in the universe. How is that so? Well, this is among the many questions I'll hope to answer. So where does this all begin? Well, we have to go back a bit. Well, actually quite a lot, to about 380,000 years after the Big Bang. Up until this point, the universe had just been expanding and cooling. And as it expanded, it cooled, as you could expect. But everything to this point, all particles, all matter, was too energetic to combine into the matter we know today. No atoms as we know them in their forms today existed, or could exist, or would exist, until a process called recombination. In fact, we can imagine the early universe as being like the inside of our sun. It was very warm, it was kind of plasmic, and very opaque. And then, eventually, the universe reached a critical temperature, and for the first time in its history, there was light. And this light, in the form of photons, my apologies, propagated uniformly throughout the universe. So these brave first few protons, known as the cosmic relics, made their way in all directions throughout the universe as it continued to expand. So if for a moment we could imagine the universe as being like the inside of our sun, now we can imagine ourselves outside of our sun. We see bright light, and for the first time there's space for these photons to expand into. Kind of like this rubber band. Here, we can imagine ourselves in space as it's expanding. And so my photons, as they're going through space, are also expanding as the universe is being cooled. And what does this cause? Well, what you might have seen in your science class is that light belongs to a spectrum. And this spectrum is divided in classes, and each class has a certain energy level. Well, photons belonging to this spectrum are stretched as they expand and thus have a longer wavelength. And this longer wavelength is attributed to a lower energy. So they lose energy as they propagate. And eventually they settle down to the microwave spectrum, which is what we observe today. And as I touched on earlier, this microwave background is seen and observed everywhere uniformly throughout the universe. But how is this possible? Well, just as I have expanded my band, I have taken out or mitigated the effects of the ripples in my band. And so we can imagine that the dense energy and mass in the beginning of the universe is being stretched as well, and thus spreads uniformly. And that is why we are able to witness this cosmic microwave background uniformly no matter where we are in space. So, in a sense, yes, the universe is in fact speaking to us. It's humming at about 160 gigahertz, but it'd be pretty tough on us to hear that. But as you're walking outside, looking up at the night sky, know that the universe is in fact whispering to you. And when you're in physics class, listen for advice.